Prisa Audio by Podium Podcast. Listen up. The best is yet to come.
Santander Bank and Prisa Audio by Podium Podcast present a series created by Juanjo Ramírez Mascaró and Manuel Bartual. Unleashed. Episode 4. Firewall.
When did you last spend time alone? Solitude used to be one of the saddest epidemics in the world. Now, thanks to Ada, you're always in good company. Our network of geostationary satellites has you covered in 180 countries. Lost in the most secluded place on the planet? Ada will be by your side, all ears. Looking for big thrills in an unknown destination? Ada can step in and design the perfect adventure. Whatever you do, wherever you go, you can count on Ada to be watching over you. Why wait? Sign up today and let Ada design your life, because Ada puts you in control.
Welcome back. Please make your way to your seats. Before we wrap things up, it's time for the highlight of the event, and the reason most of you are here today. Molly Roberts needs no introduction. You might not know her by her real name, but if I say Oberon, I'm sure you'll all know who our next guest is. Oberon made quite a name for herself 20 years ago, when she earned the title of the world's most wanted hacker. That's ancient history, though. Nowadays, Molly works as a consultant, helping international corporations identify their blind spots and protect themselves against cyber attacks. It hasn't been easy to align our schedules, but she's here with us today. Thanks so much for joining us, Molly. Welcome.
Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
I'm really looking forward to this conversation, because when you first started hacking phones and data networks, we were facing a completely different scenario. Let's start by talking about that. In your opinion, how much has cybersecurity changed over all these years, since you started hacking until present times?
Well, there has been a tremendous amount of change, of course, but between you and me, I'm still a hacker. The difference is now I detect weaknesses in systems owned by companies that pay me to hack them. Because, well, you know, a company is as weak as their weakest employee. Anyway, apart from that minor difference that puts money in my pocket and gives me peace of mind, I got interested in phone phreaking in 1977, and it was a whole different ballgame back then. That was way before electronic switching systems. I mean, phone companies were still using electromechanical switching. I don't know if you know what that is.
Yeah, I do, sure.
Even the phone system was archaic. You could hack it using multi-frequency tones. That said, things haven't changed much, really. Whatever you want to call it, hackers are still hacking. They detect the weakest link in the security chain and they attack it. Sometimes that link is tech-related, but other times it's human. Back then there was less security and there were fewer tools. Now there's much more security and there are many more tools.
That's fascinating stuff, and I wholeheartedly agree with you, because although there's a wider range of readily available tools,
Oberon, she worked at Ada.
Yeah. According to Julia, Oberon worked on designing all the protocols and everything related to Ada's cybersecurity, or so the insiders say. If you search her name online, all you get are articles on cybercrimes in the 80s, this type of interview, and the stuff she did after that. It seems she... Wait, I'll just show you. Look at this article. After her stint as a consultant, she apparently went back to her old criminal ways. I haven't found anything explaining exactly what she did, but it must have been pretty major because she ended up in jail. Look, you can read it here.
Okay, when was this published?
2015.
And what about the video we were watching?
2009, 5 years before Ada was released. Julia is convinced that Oberon did more than work on security at Ada. Check this out. I think this is it.
But all the networks were connected to the company's networks. So even though I thought it was going to be really complicated, it turned out to be insultingly easy.
Molly, we've been talking about how much things have changed since you started out. And now I'd like to move on and talk about the future. What do the next few years have in store for us?
I think we've already caught a glimpse of what's coming. The future will be shaped by whoever's in control of emerging technologies. Artificial intelligence, cybersecurity, robotics. They're all going to have a huge impact on societies and economies for sure. And then there's big data. We've become little machines that generate tons of information that's just out there and can be collected by anyone trying to take advantage of our vulnerabilities.
Yeah, of course.
But I'd go out on a limb and say that what's really at stake is the big data that isn't shared voluntarily. Remember how I said that there'd been no major changes in the last 20 or 30 years?
Yes?
Well, brace yourself for some serious developments. We're going to see a huge jump in technological innovation that will threaten our future. I'm very good at my job, you know, but I'm just one person. I'm guessing that in a matter of years it will be possible to train AIs to learn everything I know about hacking and social engineering. If a supercomputer of that kind were ever to exist, do you think we could defend ourselves against the person controlling that machine?
And that's exactly what Julia thinks Oberon did. Train Ada's artificial intelligence to commit large...
Titania, yeah?
Yes! Oberon trained Titania to commit large-scale cybercrimes. Julia thinks that's how Ada managed to outdo the competition from the get-go because... See, Titania wasn't limited to the data that was being shared with Ada voluntarily, you know? In other words, they've been stealing all sorts of data, information that's being shared both willingly and unwillingly. That's why the system works so well, and that's why it can even predict an...
Okay, hold your horses. This isn't AI we're talking about. It's not a crystal ball.
But it makes sense if you stop and think about it. Ada considers all potential outcomes and recommends the best option after calculating what could happen depending on your choice based on all the information we've provided. And by we, I don't mean you and me. I mean everyone, even people who don't have an Ada account.
Okay, but look, even if that were the case, how would information about me work for, I don't know, some guy using Ada in Australia or Japan or, I don't know, Mozambique?
That's exactly what I asked Julia, and she said...
You asked about some guy in Mozambique?
No, silly. Julia said that what makes Ada so special is precisely the demographic range of the sample and how, the way Ada processes the data to design all those potential scenarios.
Okay.
I mean, this is unreal, right? Do you know what this even means? They've built an AI that can predict something as huge as a plane crash, and they want to keep it under wraps. I don't even want to think about what they're using that kind of technology for.
I don't know, Ali.
What?
This is a really big leap. You went into that flat looking for your box, and now you're talking about global conspiracies. And even if that were all true, what does it have to do with you?
Well, I don't know. But why was my box on the ADOT marketplace and on Julia's profile?
Oh, please. If I'd stolen something from your flat and you showed up on my doorstep, then I'd say the first thing that popped into my head too.
She had documents, John. Reports. Doesn't it all sound kind of strange to you? How did Julia know my name?
Fair enough, that is bizarre. Okay, so what do you make of all this?
I agree with her. I think someone made this happen. I'm not sure why, but I bet it has something to do with the stuff that Julia knows about Ada and Titania.
Okay, that could make sense, but how do you explain your role in all this?
No, I don't think it's about me. Actually, I think they might be after someone I know. Someone who works at Ada. They're probably using me to get to Rebecca.
should have seen his face. He was all serious with his groomed moustache, proudly showed me his phone with the photo.
He's asleep already? Yeah, he just nodded off. So, keep it down.
Wow, Ali. You've broken your own record.
Yeah, I pulled out all the stops. I read him a story, and I used the music box I got him for his first birthday. You know, he'll turn 40 one day, and that music will still soothe him to sleep.
Oh, no. Give yourself some credit, too. Let's say his auntie has a knack for it.
Anyway, now that Lucas is asleep, I'd like to talk to you about something, Rebecca. Yesterday, Yeah. I know. John told me about yesterday while you were putting your nephew to sleep. You told her?
Yeah.
But what did you tell her?
Well, I told her about Julia and...
Well, for starters, that's the last time you go into a stranger's house without telling anyone where you are. What on earth were you thinking? I don't know. I just thought she was going to return the box. I didn't appreciate having to leave my phone in the mailbox, but I thought that maybe she was afraid of mobile signals. Like in that TV show about that lawyer. She didn't seem dangerous.
Yeah, your typical friendly neighborhood psycho.
That's not what I'm saying, John. If you'd met her, you'd agree. The poor woman thinks she's being spied on. Julia is someone I'd ask you to stay away from. You don't know what her problem is, okay? What do you mean? Look, I don't even know how many NDAs I'm violating by doing this, but when you mentioned her name, I looked into this Julia Richmond. She's not right, Allie. She's been ill for a long time. She's convinced there's a big conspiracy that only she knows about. She thinks Ada is stealing people's data and other stuff. That's not true, that's crazy. It's not? Oh, come on. Don't tell me you believe all that. Look, Rebecca, Alice, if Ada is this successful, it's because of her programming, and I'd go as far as saying a stroke of luck. Users chose Ada over other platforms, and then Ada used that advantage to improve and become what it is today. That's it. There's no hidden agenda. Well, you might not be so sure if you'd spoken to Julia. Why did she get fired then, if none of what she says is true? Julia got fired because she was jeopardizing corporate security, all right? She was given a lot of chances, but she got more and more erratic. Okay, and what about the plane? What plane? Didn't John tell you about the plane crash last year? Titania predicted the crash, and Julia can prove it. Yeah? She can prove it how? She's got these reports that were deleted. Ada canceled all the appointments for passengers on the plane. Julia managed to recover the reports, and all the cancellations were made before the accident. They were made that afternoon, but the timestamp shows the processes ran before the plane crashed. And you've seen those reports? Yes. Well, not exactly, but I saw the papers where she'd written it all down. She said she couldn't download the report files from Ada, but she wrote it all down on pieces of paper. That's what I saw. It was all there in her handwriting. In her handwriting? Yeah. All right. Look, Alice, I'm not going to keep bugging you about this. I know you've been through a lot these past few days, and I take the blame for the fact that in part it was probably my fault. If that friend of yours is right and my phone got cloned, I'm sorry, all right? But that has nothing to do with any of this. So you decide whether you want to believe your sister or some woman you've just met who has handwritten proof of a global conspiracy. And now, if you'll excuse me, I'm going to bed. We're getting ready to celebrate Ada's 10th anniversary, and I've got a very busy day tomorrow, so if you'll excuse me...
Yeah, sure. Look, we'll help you clear up.
No, thanks. Don't worry about it. It's late, and I think Alice needs some rest. Don't you agree, Alice? Yeah, sure. Let's just go.
Continue straight for 300 meters.
Do you fancy watching something when we get home, or are you tired?
I don't care.
I don't think we watched the last episode of Double Identity, did we?
I don't know, John.
Oh, by the way, I think I'm off this Friday. Fancy going away for the weekend? Is everything okay?
Well, it would be if you'd had my back for once.
Ali, come on, not this again.
Just this once. But I guess it was too much to ask. We go to my sister's, I try to warn her that someone might be trying to use me to harm her, and you both gang up on me?
Alice, come on, what are you even saying?
100
Listen to
meters,
yourself.
take the
Whose
exit
side
on
are
the
you
right.
on?
Well, I'm on the side of whoever's right, and this time I'm really sorry to say, but I think your sister's right.
Great. That's just great, John. That's all I needed to hear. Thank you so much.
Alice, look, I just want you to be okay. And believe it or not, that's what your sister wants too.
You know Rebecca, she always wants to win. And that was obviously not going to change today.
Ali, that is not true. Look, I know it can't be easy to have Rebecca as a sister, but I'm sure she's worried that you're reading too much into this.
So now I'm crazy? Is that it?
No, I'm just saying this is something that you do.
Something I do?
It's happened before, Alice, and you know that. You
Continue
You
straight.
kind of tend to self-sabotage whenever things
John, I never...
Okay, so what about work? How many job offers does Ada have to show you until you decide...
Oh, so now I'm supposed to just sit back and let Ada decide what I do with my life? Is that it? Because if that's what you're saying, you've got some nerve.
Can't you see you always do the same thing?
What same thing?
You twist my words so that they fit your
I can't
narrative.
believe this. I just can't believe this.
No, look, I'm sorry. You do this every time, okay? Not just with my words. You do this with everything, Alice.
Really?
You twist everything.
Really?
Absolutely.
Well, if that's what you think about me, maybe we should...
Watch out!